Welcome to Duo Chat with Brittany
and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows
like Dawson's Creek, One Tree Hill, and more.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Cynthia.
And today we're talking about Season 3, Episode 5, titled A Multitude of Casualties, air date November 2nd, 2005. And the synopsis is
Dan presents the Ravens for the new basketball season, but the boys come rolling in with a fight along with the cheerleaders. And then this is the part where I'm convinced that this was written by a man who doesn't like women, because this next part is, then Brooke and Peyton audition for would-be cheerleaders. And then the obvious winner is arrogant, slutty Rachel, who Brooke accidentally tells Lucas to go after when telling Lucas to date another girl. While Dan's team plans his election campaign, Deb walks in dressed sluttier than a drunk whore. And then Captain Nathan puts Lucas on the bench for back talk. And to everyone's surprise, Karen throws her hat in the ring for mayor. And Whitey makes Lucas co-captain, and Rachel sits naked in Lucas's car, and Brooke chews both of them out. Yeah, so I cut that down a little bit because it was giving every little detail. But yeah, those two lines right there about Rachel and Deb, I was shocked. And also, they misspelled then. They put THEN instead of THAN, so they didn't do it right when they were trying to insult Deb. But yeah, so that was that one. Yeah. So yeah, this was kind of a another flashback kind of thing where it starts off at the beginning, where we start off in the middle of the episode or the end of the episode, and then we go backward to whatever the beginning of the day, 2 days before, because we start off with the.
I didn't like it previous. Remember in Season 1?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It wasn't bad because it was like the actual drama.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it would have been maybe different in Season 1 if you had actually gotten to see Nathan and Lucas punching each other,
Mm-hmm.
and then it would have been like, wait, what? That would have alerted, but the fact that they weren't, and here they were, it was like, all right. And then it goes in, and you're like, I want to watch it,
right?
But I knew we would eventually.
Mm-hmm. And then the cheerleaders dancing too. I don't know what this was called because they didn't really seem like teenage cheerleaders. They were just dancing more than anything. They didn't have their pom-poms with them. So
right. I was like, is this a dance? At first I was like, is this a dance squad?
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were supposed to cheer.
Yeah. And then the locker room, that's when Lucas demands Nathan tell him what's going on with Haley. He's hurting her, and that's when Nathan asks Lucas, where his pep is, because this is a pep rally. And then
is it a pep rally or is it a game?
It's supposed to be like a pre-hype thing for the new season. It's at midnight. That's what Hillary said too. Like, she never heard of this either when she was doing cheerleading. Like, this isn't a thing, at least where she is and where we are. Especially that late in the day, if anything. But and then too, when the girls were dancing, I never noticed this before until this time because you know how to watch it more carefully. But there was a moment where Bevan did a Brooke move, because she did this earlier in the first season, I think it was, where she turned around to the audience and flashed her underwear to them really quick. Did you catch that?
No.
Yep. So that was that part I noticed there. But yeah, I was like, what is this kind of charade that they're going on here? Because it's an unusual thing they're doing the event, and then everybody's fighting each other for some. It's because it's Lucas and Nathan, and then Rachel and Brooke and Peyton. That makes sense, but the rest
everybody
of
else,
and then the mascot later on joins them when we go back to it. I'm like,
and Peyton beats him up or something.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't even see the mascot do anything to her, but okay, she's on top of him, beating him up.
I mean, did the mascot push her or something?
Yeah, so it's like two separate piles too. The guys and the girls are going at each other for no reason almost. So
I know. I was like, first of all, for the team,
mm-hmm.
Who's pissed at who?
Yeah,
because the only two that are actually in a fight
mm-hmm.
are Nathan and Lucas.
Yeah,
I'm like, why is everybody fighting?
Yeah. This is probably the most unrealistic episode so far.
No, because normally you would have just let them fight.
Yeah, or try to break them up. So.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe, I guess you could say they were trying to break them up and then somebody punched somebody in the face and then they also, I don't know, but it's like, okay. And then I was trying to watch the girls too, because I was like, the second time, when they're actually fighting on the ground, and it goes longer. I was like, what is going on? Because I thought that same thing, which was like, who's in a fight with who?
Mhm.
And so I was watching because there was like, there's all, the girls are all different places. So I was like watching and I'm like, okay, Brooke and Rachel, and then some other girls. And then there was Peyton and some other girls. And I was like, okay, so that was a little bit better, even
Mhm.
though I think there was another side going on of the girls. But I was like, that makes sense that like they were beating Peyton up too because she was defending Brooke.
Mhm.
But did you see Haley in any of it?
No, I was just trying to focus on the main ones that started it. So.
Yeah, because I was just trying to
Mm.
figure that out too. I'm like, why is everybody like so even the guys? I'm like, who
Mhm.
are they fighting? When did they get
Yeah.
a fight?
Yeah, they kind of did it too quickly when they were showing people, so you couldn't tell who was who. So.
I'm like, I get Nathan and Lucas and like maybe Tim trying to like go after Lucas and like maybe a couple guys might go after Nathan and Tim to protect Lucas, but I'm
Mhm.
like, that'd all be one fight. But it seemed like there was another fight going on with the guys, and I'm like the girls were, and I was like,
Mhm.
what is happening? What
Yeah.
happened in that locker room?
Mhm.
The only people that were like pushing and shoving were Nathan and Lucas.
Mhm.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Would you, because it was both the, boys and girls, would you get in a fight if it wasn't even your friend's fight? Like if
No.
you're not like besties with Nathan or Lucas, like
Mhm.
Tim is, or you're not besties with Brooke and Peyton, would you really get in a fight with
No.
the team?
No. That makes
Me
no
either.
sense.
I was like, no, because the team, it's not like they're all besties, right?
Mhm.
Because if that was the case, we would see the whole team. We wouldn't just see a couple of them. So I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me of like why you would sacrifice
Mhm.
yourself for someone else's battle.
Mhm.
Like again, I get Peyton because she's best friends with Brooke, but why the rest of the team?
Right.
And I guess maybe Bevan wanted to like protect Rachel because like all of a sudden
Mhm.
these two are close, but I don't. Again, just it's just weird. And again, for the girls,
Mhm.
Rachel's new. You're just gonna come in and all of a sudden protect her.
Mhm.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because
What?
Joy. Yeah, Joy didn't even like mention what she was doing because I think she said she doesn't remember.
I don't think she was
Um.
there. It seemed like she was
Yeah.
there when they were cheering as in dancing, but then it seemed like
Mhm.
she left. I don't know. I didn't
I
see
mean,
her.
it would be in character for her to just step out like that, but
Yeah, because I didn't
yeah.
see her
Mhm.
unless she was the mascot.
Yeah. Because then we kind of go flashback to the locker room. Um, is that where we went? Oh yeah, because we went from the girls to the guys. Yeah, so we go back to the locker room and we see how it started with Nathan and Lucas. Because Lucas is just trying to like defend Haley, but sometimes he goes overboard like this time.
Okay,
Because
he picks all like okay at the river court was like one thing when he went up against Nathan because it's like what was happening nowhere like they were out of school, it was just the two of them. Okay, you can say crap to them, right?
yeah,
But this is a school event apparently. They're
yeah,
in school
yeah.
and you're going to start a fight. And
Mm-hmm.
anytime you mention Haley, it's going to be a fight. So it's
Right.
kind of like, why?
Yeah, the worst time and place. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the River Court was one thing that one episode, but
Mm-hmm.
like now it's not. And also, how many times is Lucas going to say something to him?
Right.
Like Nathan, he knows Nathan. Nathan is Nathan's own person. Why would he
Mm-hmm.
think that Nathan would um just all of a sudden like justify his behavior or all of a sudden just start talking to Haley all nicely? Like whatever is going on with Nathan, Nathan's gonna deal with it Nathan way.
Yeah, it's
So for
really.
Lucas, why would he think that whatever he says is going to all of a sudden make him nice? And it,
Yeah.
nothing Lucas has ever done has made Nathan nice.
Yeah, like it really isn't Lucas's business at this point. And where did my thought go? I just had. Um Oh yeah, and Lucas is acting like Nathan like really like he cheated on Haley or something, and now he's
I
ignoring
know.
her. So I don't know. He's just like it's too overboard. I think they just don't know what to do with the two guys at this point, so that's why they're having them fight. But I don't know. It's just really annoying after a while.
It is because I mean, I get Lucas wanting to protect Haley because that's his friend.
Mhm.
But at
Yeah.
the same because Lucas loves defending his friends.
Hmm.
But at the same time, Haley, your friend, left.
Hmm.
She left you too as a friend.
Yeah.
I mean, really?
Hmm.
And secondly, she was married. She cheated. Did she ever tell Lucas? Wait, Nathan.
Um.
Nathan told Lucas, didn't he, that she kissed him
I don't know. It just.
when they were fighting in the jail? Didn't he say she kissed him? I thought he told Lucas, and Lucas said, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like
I don't know.
that's
He might have.
that's when Lucas realized it. But at the same time, she kissed somebody else, ran away with them. I mean, no matter what, if it was about the tour or whatever, she still did it. And it's your
Well,
best friend.
yeah. Maybe he's not so strict about it, just because he's the one that's been a cheater, also.
I
So
know. I was like, two cheaters, best
he's.
friends.
Yeah, that's why he's letting her behavior fly, I guess. And but at the same time, like she cheated on his brother, so he's kind of like in the middle. But yeah, he's more on Haley's side more than anything when he shouldn't be. But yeah, I don't know.
I guess because he wasn't raised with Nathan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like it wasn't like if your sibling cheated, or you got cheated on,
Mhm.
because obviously it's your sibling. But also too, like remember, like I get the whole like maybe you're siding with her because you're also a cheater, but at the same time, do you remember when Lucas cheated? Haley was upset at Lucas.
Yeah, so now her behavior is really bad now. Yeah,
So the fact that you're letting her off the hook when
right.
she literally did the same thing and you're gonna
Hmm.
just justify basically whatever she did?
Hmm.
What?
Right.
Also, does he remember Brooke um kind of didn't really give in to Lucas? She did to a point and I didn't like it. Give in to Lucas and Peyton when she shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because remember, it seemed like all of a sudden Brooke was like all good with them. And I'm like, for
Hmm.
what? They cheat.
Right.
And so
Hmm.
but she did give Lucas a little hard time, which was good. Not long
Hmm.
enough, but good. But I think it's like, did Lucas not realize what Brooke went through? So Nathan is going through the exact same thing.
Yeah, and then you think that he would kind of. Well, I don't know. Does Nathan even know about Lucas and Payne? I don't know. I would
Well,
say.
Haley, didn't she say that's why she was mad at Lucas? Because remember he said, that was my, is in season one,
Oh
and
yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah. Yep,
I
yep,
used to
yep.
be that guy. That was my
Hmm.
job. And it
Yeah,
was like, what? And that's when she got mad at
yeah.
him.
Yeah, so I just realized this would have been a nice moment for Brooke and Nathan to bond over this, being cheated on, because and then at least Nathan wouldn't be alone because, like I said, everybody else is on Haley's side, so
Well,
except for Peyton, but
that was my thing, is even Brooke, the person that got cheated on,
hmm
you would think, yeah, you would think that she would be like, oh my God, this is a great time for Nathan and Brooke to like come together and support each other. But at the same time, she's on Haley's side, the cheater.
yeah, and they're
When
roommates, so
when
hmm
in the world would Brooke be on the cheater's side?
yeah, I forgot about that fact. Um, yeah, because she gave her a hard time for like a day, maybe not even that, and then let her move in, but yeah, I don't know.
Because
At least
I
when
was
she was
like,
gone, it would have been something, but
because again, Haley didn't just leave Nathan, she left the whole group. And that's why I'm like, it's not like she was staying in contact with any of them.
hmm
She left.
yeah, just her sister, yeah.
So, yeah. So it didn't make any sense that Brooke wouldn't be mad at her too. Again, she cheated.
Hmm. Yeah.
And Brooke knew about the cheating. Remember the
Yeah.
secret?
Yeah.
She knew.
Yeah,
So
she was
for
the first one, yeah.
yeah, so it's like for Brooke to just remember when she went up to Nathan and said, remember the last episode? She was like, oh, Haley's not doing good. that should have been a perfect time for Brooke not to say that because
Mm-hmm.
Haley deserves that.
Yeah, they're just, like I said, everybody's just making Nathan feel bad for no reason.
Why? What did
Yeah.
he do? I don't understand
Mhm.
what Nathan did except for give her the treatment that she deserves right now.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna go into much detail, but there was something that happened too where somebody did something wrong to somebody else. I didn't like it, so I didn't talk to them for 2 weeks. But it was only 2 weeks because they started making me feel guilty for not talking to them anymore. So that was the only reason why I started talking to them. But they never said they were sorry, to me or the other person, as far as I know. But yeah, so I hate Nathan's going through this, but yeah, I mean, I know it ends eventually, but it's just really annoying right now. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like he is going through something too. Remember, Lucas went to go visit Nathan,
Mm-hmm.
had the papers. Nathan had to find the papers in Lucas's bag. He
Yeah.
didn't even give them to him like a
Mm-hmm.
real man would have.
Yeah.
He had to find them. So that's even worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so for Nathan, it's like everyone's against Nathan except for Peyton.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's weird.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Like, why? Well, shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
everybody be on um
Nathan.
Nathan's side?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except for maybe Lucas because he's the cheater.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
Right.
why is Peyton giving him such a hard time when she was a cheater?
Yeah.
That's what makes no sense. Is you're going to be on Nathan's side, which is good,
Mm-hmm.
but given how you were with that love triangle, it's weird that you would be against Haley.
Yeah, and I feel like Payne's anger too is a lot because of Ellie too. So I feel like it wasn't even like, just coming from her. It was from a situation she was in. So
Yeah, but she's still there.
yeah.
She's still
Mm-hmm.
hating on Peyton or Haley.
Really? Yeah.
Which again, I like because it's like the only person that is.
Mm-hmm.
And Cynthia, I'm actually surprised at something.
Hmm.
Given how they always say like the creator kind of was against them
Mm-hmm.
and kind of wanted Haley to go away, remember? That's what
Yeah.
you said, Joy said.
Mm-hmm.
Um, why? I'm trying to think. Like, if you were the writer
Mm-hmm.
and you wanted somebody gone, why would you make the character come back and be loved all of a sudden?
I think maybe I don't know if you want to keep this in, but maybe because they figured they couldn't scare Joy off the show. So when she did come back for this season, they had to like maybe it was just still the anger towards her for not dropping out of the show. So maybe that's why they kind of like took it on her character, probably.
But
I'm
they
guessing.
didn't.
I mean, at least yeah, with Payne, but yeah. Or I don't know. I feel like a lot of stuff happened. She hasn't talked about it again after she came back, so I don't know. I do this episode by episode, so maybe she mentions it later on if she remembers or something, but I don't
'Cause
know.
I'm just kind of think like if you wanted somebody off your show,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And you brought their character back because you realize you can't get rid of them.
Yeah.
Well, and wouldn't you make their character suffer a little? It's
I
just
don't
kind
know.
of weird. It's just weird because they talk about how he was so against them,
Mhm.
but yet at the same time, he's gonna make Haley loved by the rest of the characters except for Peyton.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like
Yeah.
if he's so on the guy's side, right?
Mhm.
Wouldn't he be like, let's all go around Nathan because he's the loved one and make Haley suffer? I don't know. I just if he I just would think that that's how it would go. It's just weird how it's not going that way.
Maybe I feel like I don't want to like misquote, but because I listened to little bits and pieces of Joy's interviews for her book, and she did say that I think it was the cult that had her go on this show because then basically they were going to steal the money from her anyways, but maybe that's why like they made a deal with the network or the creator about a salary or something, and maybe that's why they treated Haley better when she came back because everybody got what they wanted in a way. I don't know. I feel like something's missing, but
I feel like
yeah.
it is too, because if your character is gonna come back,
Mhm.
she's not gonna come back so loved
Yeah, cuz I don't know
and
if you heard, but
accepted by everyone.
mhm. Yeah, cuz I don't know if you heard about it, but I remember Joy saying somewhere that by the time the show ended, the cult had took $2 million from her from the whole series over the time span. So, like I said, they were just using her for that, but so I don't know. Yeah. I think that's why they convinced her to stay too.
Because
So,
like I don't know if you ever watched Nashville,
the first episode I couldn't get into it.
but on there, Juliet leaves her husband for postpartum. So she left her daughter,
Hold on,
and
sorry, you froze, so I didn't catch the first part what you just said.
Juliet leaves because she was going through postpartum.
Mm,
She leaves because the actual actress was going through it.
uh-huh.
So she left, and she left her husband on the show and her baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he came back, or when she came back, it was she was in a dark place when she came back too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard for her. And I remember it was like watching, and I remember like because you grieved with him, right? Because she wasn't on camera. And I did wonder, like, the first time when I watched One Tree Hill, like, why did I give Haley grace? Because I did.
Mm-hmm.
But like Juliet was different. I think it was because we saw Nathan, yes, grieve
Mm-hmm.
and get mad. But I think it was because we still saw Haley. It was like there was two worlds, but we still saw her.
Mm-hmm.
Where Juliet was just out of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was like we got to see him in his hardship by himself,
Right.
trying to raise a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the difference is for the audience, we still got to see Haley. We got to see her live her dream.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why for us, it's like, oh, well, this is what she wanted. She gets to do it. But it's like, why didn't I give Juliet that same grace?
Mm-hmm. And like Maddie too. Yeah, Maddie on 911. She did the same thing. So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, what? Because again,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't she in or not in a couple episodes too?
I don't know. I just remember she was just trying to figure out what was going on with her. But yeah.
Yeah, I think she missed a few episodes. And again, it was like the
I,
same thing of like,
wasn't it
why?
because she was gonna have a baby in real life? I think it was or
Yeah,
something.
and she did have
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for the story wise, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it
Right.
doesn't. I think it's because when you take them out of it,
Mm-hmm.
and we're left with the pieces, and you're left with the other person grieving, we are like, you know what? We don't know what the heck's going on. So we can only deal with what we're seeing. And so we're seeing the husbands or boyfriends
Mm-hmm.
upset. And so I think that's maybe the case of like Haley may have been the exception of we got to see her progress. So for us, it's like it was like two shows, we talked about, but we got to see it. I
Yeah.
think we would not have like I wouldn't have given her the grace if she was totally off camera for those episodes. It would have been like, "What? And now you're coming back on the blue?" Like they did. But I think it's because we got to see it. So we kind of got to see the fun that she was having.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to understand it. I think if we got to understand like Maddie and Juliet,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, they may have had a scene here and there, and it was them going through something. It would have been like, we get it. But I think
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't get to see it and then they just show up, it's like, why now?
Right.
I think that was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard because for those characters, the actresses were actually like, it was worked in their contract that they just weren't there.
Yeah.
Where for Joy, it's still in her contract that she was there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the difference is they couldn't bring them to do a scene here and there because I'm sure it was in their contract that they didn't have to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But for Joy, it was still in the contract, even if they were trying to get rid of her. It was still in the contract that she had those episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the difference is, and I think I remember like watching it too, and I'm like, I gave Haley grace, and I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have.
Right.
That's why when I rewatched it this time around, I was like, no, I'm not going to give it grace because I'm seeing episode by episode now too of
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't good.
Right.
And yeah, you can see both sides, but no matter what, she did what she did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's hard to like come back from to season 3 and be like, oh, everything's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is everything good?
Right.
She did what she did. Are we going to forget that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's they were trying to make it where Nathan would be the only one to really have to accept it?
Maybe, I don't know. I just feel like yeah, because for the last episode they had revealed that during Nathan's high flyer months he was actually talking with another girl because there's a picture of him with her that we see before he calls Chris. So it's like kind of set up as if he kind of like had an affair too, even though he didn't. But I don't know. Like I said, I feel like they maybe had a different idea of where this was going to go without Haley, and then since they couldn't do it without Haley, they couldn't, write her off. They had to like go with the plan B, and this was the plan B, which isn't great, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, and it's definitely lighter
Mm-hmm.
than they could have done it.
Yeah.
Like, what's crazy is that One Tree Hill has its dark moments
Mm-hmm.
and it's intense.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a storyline like this that should be dark
Yeah.
and it's light.
Yeah.
Because I look at Beverly Hills 90210.
Mm-hmm.
They made moments dark.
Mm-hmm.
They made people go through the worst things.
Right.
And yet, in those moments, it wasn't lighthearted. It was sad. You cried. You watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And here it's like, it's one of it's a sad moment. And yet it's all okay.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
It's hard to like understand it
Mm-hmm.
in a way of like, is it too they thought like they knew Nathan and Haley were going to get back together, so they were like, let's just make it where not everybody is going to have to make amends and only Nathan and Haley, and so that way it'll be quicker of Nathan and Haley get on board back together, and then that was it, and now we can all have the cast happily back together.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what they were going with?
Maybe, yeah.
Because they have one season to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you look at like 90210, they took those dark moments, and if a character hated somebody, they were going to hate them.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't going to be the next episode or 5 episodes later.
Right.
It may have been a whole season,
Mm-hmm.
but they were going to do it within that season of they're going to go through this,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to watch it.
Yeah.
And but I think here it was like, nope, we have to wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
Brooke and Lucas can't hate Haley all of a sudden, even though they should.
Yeah.
I do wonder if that's why. They just had a quick make it all good, happy. Let's just quick wrap this
Mm-hmm.
sadness up because we saw season 2.
Right.
But when you go from like realistically on a show, would this have happened? No, it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
At least Brooke. Like, again, Lucas being the best friend. Okay, even though he doesn't necessarily like what Haley did, you're gonna
Mhm.
still somewhat side with your best friend. But for Brooke, that's what's odd. I think.
Mhm.
I think out of anyone, for Peyton to be on or on Nathan's side, but for
Mhm.
Brooke not to be is weird.
Mhm.
And you can still disagree and put Haley through it, like for
Mhm.
Brooke. She
Yeah.
could have very easily said, "You can move in with me, but it's
Mhm.
not gonna be easy."
Yeah.
She could have done that. It could have been that too, because Haley has nowhere to go.
Mhm.
So it could have been that easy.
Yeah.
But instead we have this. I think do you
Right.
think it's too they were trying to maybe in a way get rid of Peyton maybe and make Brooke and Haley like the new best friends? Because season 3, it's like their season.
Yeah, I mean, it ends up that way anyhow, but, yeah. I mean, Peyton's always going through it some way or another, so and Hillary said that she was just the best at crying, so that could be a reason, but also because, we know the creator didn't like her, but, yeah, I don't know, maybe.
That's I thought maybe it was because we know she had a lot of hardship, like on the
Mhm.
show, like
Yeah.
personally.
Mhm.
That I think maybe they're trying to maybe get rid of her and like, oh, let's see how well we can do with like making Brooke and Haley the new best friends and kind
Mhm.
of erase that in
Yeah.
a way.
Mhm.
And so let's have Brooke and Haley have all these happy roommate scenes
Mhm.
because it does well.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so we find out the fight started with Nathan and Lucas because Lucas had flicked Nathan in the chest.
Ugh, boys.
Yeah, and then Nathan calls him a bitch and tells him not to push him, and that does come to be a good segue later with the girls. But Lucas just says what you're gonna do about it, and then that's when they get because like he said that you're treating Haley like dirt, but I'm like she kind of deserves it, Lucas. I don't know why you keep doing this, but
How is that treating her like dirt? It's treating her
and
the
then
way that she treated him. Only
mhm,
it was worse.
yeah, and then he really was overboard, like totally uncalled for because he told Nathan that he's just like Dan. This is nothing like Dan.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And also too, I mean, if anyone was like Dan, it was Lucas when he decided to cheat.
Mhm.
Um, but also too, well, and two, remember they had that pregnancy scare, and remember Dan said, "Oh,
Mhm.
kind
Yeah.
of like me or something." So,
Mhm.
I think too, Nathan, I feel like in order for him to treat Haley like dirt, first of all, he didn't have to do all the times he did talk to her and save her. Remember that last episode? He didn't have to do all that if he was treating her like dirt, but also
Mhm.
treating her like dirt would be to do the exact same thing she did to you,
Right.
which he didn't do.
Mhm.
How is that dirt?
Yeah, so yeah, Lucas is definitely forgetting about the party. And then yeah, so that's when Nathan punches Lucas in the face and then Lucas punches him back, but and then that's when the rest of the team tries to break them up and then that's when they start going from the locker room out to the gym. So I
Mhm.
get when they had that narrow space, that's how they got kind of bundled up together. But by the time they got into the gym and they had the free room, they shouldn't have been still doing that. But
Unless somebody got punched by somebody else and they were like, it's on when we're out there.
mhm. Yeah, but I did kind of like how Dan was kind of like, because he's like hyping the team up, like because his sons are on the team and then they come out like that. So I liked how he was kind of humiliating like that, because everybody knew that, they were Dan's sons. So at least that was something positive in the episode for
No,
Dan.
Whitey was too funny.
Yeah.
Damn, you're a sperm.
hmm And the mouth is starting to describe everything that's happening like it's a game.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, as he saying like, oh, Lucas takes a punch to Nathan. I'm like, oh my God.
hmm Yep.
And he's
And then
getting
that,
all into it.
yeah. And then that's when we go to 2 days prior at
I know.
school.
That's when I was like, dang.
hmm
I wanted to watch it.
Yeah, so Mouth is handing out flyers to be an announcer for this event, Friday at midnight. So this was just like really showing that officially Jimmy was out of the picture because they were partners before in the beginning.
I
You know?
know. I was like, first of all, what?
And I was like, was this like foreshadowing for what what's gonna come later? Like, did they like try to like show it here first, or because I feel like they wouldn't have done it without a purpose, with Mouse. So
Well, I know. They could have
I
very
mean,
easily called him back to.
yeah.
I
Mhm.
know. There's no talk of what happened to him.
Yeah.
Because it could have been very easily like
He changed schools.
moved. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would have been the only reason he wouldn't
Mhm.
have been there.
Yeah.
But that was his world with Mouth. So the fact
Mhm.
that Mouth of all people is going to be like, I need a different announcer. I don't like
Yeah. Yeah. After a
what?
year now, after a year now, he's doing the auditions for it. So that was weird too. So that's why I think they were definitely using it for a purpose.
Yeah. But it's just weird because I do think you can have two worlds.
Mhm.
I do think you can have your world with your sports, with your friend, but I
Mhm.
think you can also be friends with the popular kids.
Mhm.
So I don't think it makes any sense for Mouth to not understand that.
Right.
And I think of everyone, I think Mouth is the one person that gets it. So
Mhm.
for him to then treat somebody else like that, it's just uncharacter for him.
Mhm.
I mean, remember when he was being friends with Lucas, but also Felix? It's like, that's just who Mouth is.
Yeah.
He's the person that would be friends with everybody. So it
Mhm.
doesn't make any sense that he would just kick Jimmy to the curb.
Mhm.
I don't really think that's him at all. But yeah, I was thinking the whole time too, when this was going on of like he needs another announcer. I was like, what's wrong with Jimmy?
Mhm.
And it's
Or
like,
even
yeah,
by himself.
season
Yeah.
season 3. That's right.
Mhm. Yeah. And then Nathan and Haley run into each other, quote unquote, because oh, that's later in my yeah. So Nathan is still acting cold towards Haley, but she wants to talk about what happened at the ball, masquerade ball, even though it was just like costume party. But Nathan says he can't. Why do he has wants to see him? And it wasn't a big deal anyways. And Haley says it was to her. And Nathan says it was a nice moment, but it's over now. Um,
I
and
mean,
then
honestly, because I know it's like, oh, it's about the kiss, right? But
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, what Nathan did is not dirt.
Right.
Because
Mhm.
he did save her ass.
Mhm.
Again, this is what I don't like. Is like Nathan went through it in season 2. We all saw it. So for him to
Mhm.
come back and be like, "Oh, I'll still save you."
Mhm.
No. I can't. Like, I know they did it because we had to show like the end of the kiss, and obviously then eventually we know who it is. But it's like at
Mhm.
the same time, it's like, no, because it's not like as much as I love Nathan and Haley, because I do, they are my favorite couple on the show.
Mhm.
But I do want to see Nathan give her more silent treatment. Like I
Mhm.
what he went through, she deserves it.
Yeah.
She doesn't deserve him to save her.
Mhm.
Do you?
No.
Like, yeah, it was a nice moment, but I don't think she deserved it in that moment.
Mhm.
She humiliated him for the whole school.
Mhm.
Remember when I said, why did everyone care about Dawson and his friends on Dawson's Creek? Remember, everybody would want to mess with them? And I said,
Mhm.
why? They're not popular. No one cares about them
Mhm.
because that'd be like any other school. What this here they would care. All
Mhm.
eyes would be on Nathan.
Yeah.
Let's see here. He did the out of the ordinary and got married to
Mhm.
somebody who also wasn't popular. It's like all eyes are on you.
Mhm.
And then to make it even worse, you're popular. So if anything, she embarrassed the crap out of him. And
Mhm.
then do you know how many jokes could have been made of she's out of your league? and she still left you. I'm just saying, like, he could have got so much flack from school that
Mhm.
we didn't see
Mhm.
that he had to deal with. And then for him to then say, again, people could have very easily said more things about him to save her
Mhm.
after humiliating him.
Right.
That's what I mean is One Tree Hill, I can see everybody wanting to, get in the middle of everybody because they're popular.
Mhm.
But on Dawson's Creek, I never understood that. But here, I get it. And for
Mhm.
Nathan, that I just didn't like it.
Right.
So it was nice though when he was like, "It's a nice moment, but it's over now." I'm like,
Mhm.
Nathan, you go.
Yeah, and then Brooke and Peyton have their cheerleading tryouts. They're sitting down, waiting for it to begin. And Brooke's taking it in that this is the last tryouts ever.
Peyton's all happy.
Mhm.
Okay, here's my red flag.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. Why is there no coach for the cheer?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was talking about before too. It just seems very unsupervised, and somehow Brooke has it all organized as one person, as one captain. But yeah.
Well, somehow Brooke is the coach because somehow she gets to determine who's on the team.
Mhm.
There is no way any school is going to allow one student to say who's on the team.
Right.
That's why there's a coach, a cheer coach, to say who's on the. Think if Nathan got to say who was on the team.
Mhm.
I mean, what?
Yeah, then Lucas wouldn't be there in the first place.
Exactly. I I just don't understand how there's no cheer coach
Mhm.
because there would be.
Yeah, like I think Hillary said they just didn't want to pay adults too much money. That's why they didn't have a lot of parents around, and I guess they didn't want to take the time to pay another actress to play this role, and think of plot lines for her and everything. But yeah.
Don't you think it could have been very easily a woman sitting next to the girls and then just nodding like she likes Rachel, not even
Mhm.
saying it, but you can tell she likes Rachel. And then I don't know, like the next scene could be Rachel gets her uniform, like she's showing Brooke, rubbing it in her face, like I'm on the team. It could have been
Mhm.
very easily written that way that we know there's a cheer coach.
Right.
We saw the audition, we saw the girls not so good, then Rachel comes in, of course she's good. It could have been that way, and we would know there's a cheer coach, and Brooke was not in charge of who's who gets the spot. Also, I have another thing. Why is there only one spot open?
Right. Yeah, I didn't get that either.
Who was like, what?
Yeah, do they only have like cheerleaders for every class? But if so, that would mean Brooke would be the leader for all the classes and the cheerleading teams and all that.
Well, I was just like, there was only one person that either quit or was a senior and graduated. I was like,
Mhm.
that's not normal.
Yeah.
Never, I don't think, has that probably ever happened
Mhm.
where there's like one senior on the team. And
Mhm.
also, wouldn't the captain of cheer then be the seniors?
Mhm.
So Brooke last year wouldn't in the last 2 seasons would not have been cheer captain because a senior would have been.
Mhm. Yeah, they just kind of keep things out of the picture. Like Brooke's technically the president of or no, wait, wasn't that last year? Um the president, class president?
Yeah, last season.
Yeah, we didn't see her do anything after she won, so they
Nope.
just dropped it. She went back to being a party, the party Brooke, not the responsible Brooke. So they just don't really flesh out their characters very much or their plot lines or like think ahead too
Um
much.
Also I did think I thought it was I don't know, I kind of questioned Nathan getting the captain spot because I thought he was captain.
I mean, yeah, he acted that way, but
But
yeah, I
I
don't
thought he
know.
was.
Well, I mean, nobody called him that, so I figured that he wasn't. It was just Whitey who was calling the moves all the time. But
Well, there's no one on the team as they would claim. I thought Nathan was, so I was just kind of like, what? Now all of a sudden he is? I was confused. Because it seemed like he was. Nobody else acted as captain.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's maybe why I just figured it.
Right. And then with Rachel's audition too, because you remember how she brought her own CD, her own song?
Yeah. Why?
She never took it out of the player after she was done. She just left it. I just noticed that. I was like, you were so keen on using the song, but you forgot it on your way out.
Also, what kind of audition is it that you get to use your own music and they don't have to listen to what it is before you play it?
Right, yeah.
Because if you do anything at a school, they have to
Mhm.
listen to the CD or song before they're going to let you play it.
Right,
And I
yeah.
feel like that would be the same thing of a dance audition or a cheer
Mhm.
audition. I still feel like somebody would have to listen to it.
Yeah, and she was dancing very
Uh-huh.
provocative. Yeah, so that was
Again,
the thing.
that's more of a dance squad than it is a cheer squad.
Mhm.
Where's the cheer in it?
Yeah. Mhm.
I know. When I was watching, I was like, that's more of a dance audition
Yeah.
than it is a cheer. She's not even cheering.
Mhm.
She's not clapping, cheering, nothing. Like we don't know if you have cheer in you.
Mhm.
I mean,
Oh,
all
and
she's doing
then
is moving across the stage.
right. And then we know that Brooke doesn't like Rachel because of the party with Lucas and everything, but
How does she know who that is?
because it was easy. I guess she just recognized her from her costume because she wasn't wearing a mask. Nobody was wearing a mask.
She wasn't
Except
wearing a
for
mask,
Nathan.
but she was wearing a wig.
I know, but I guess from her face you could still tell who she was easily. But I noticed how Brooke brings up Rachel being late, so her tryout doesn't count, but she let her try out anyhow. So I don't know why she did said that. I mean, because she doesn't like her, but like logically that it makes sense. So
No.
yeah,
If anything, it would have been like, you're still not on the team, but I guess I'll watch you.
right, yeah. And then then she tries to win Payne over with the Beatles reference, and then Nathan goes into Whitey's office, and he's drawn on the whiteboard,
Mhm.
and that's when he makes him captain. And has that C patch. I feel like is that even like a thing? Like
Mm,
they get a C patch for being captain?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that was realistic. And then elsewhere, Brooke mentions to Lucas that she's been thinking about their non-exclusive thing, and
Oh,
that's
also, I was thinking too, like when Nathan was like, when he put his finger over the C, like, because he was just like, oh, so shocked that he's captain. I was like, what? What do you mean you're so? I don't understand why Nathan's so shocked at being captain when he's acted as captain for the past 4 years, apparently.
right.
And he went to high flyers.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't they, like I don't understand why he thinks he wouldn't be captain after all of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, because clearly he's changed as a person, better person.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of led the team and all the games, and he went to high flyers to kind of represent the school. So I don't understand why he wouldn't be captain, why he would think somebody else would. That's what was
Mm-hmm.
weird. It wasn't like
Yeah.
Lucas where it was like, oh, I'm captain over Nathan. It's no, of course you're captain. What?
Mm-hmm.
Not giving it to Tim.
Right.
That's what was weird to me was duh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Brooke mentions to Lucas about their non-exclusive thing and how it has to be
What do you
fair.
think of this?
It was just stupid.
It's like Felix all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they recreating the same storyline?
Well, I mean, they weren't open to seeing other people, but yeah, it's just the same
They are
scenarios.
now in this
How?
episode.
But Felix didn't see another girl when he was having sex with Brooke.
No, but it was friends with benefits, so technically he could have. Technically he did. He took Teresa.
Yeah, but I don't think he was sleeping with her. I don't know.
No, because he
But
only had eyes for Brooke.
yeah.
but he
Yeah.
could have because
Mhm.
they were only friends.
Right.
Also, I don't like this at all because first of all, hasn't she learned it leads to bad things? Um,
Mhm.
I mean, look at how jealous she got over Felix. And
Yeah.
that was over somebody she didn't love.
Mhm.
And given how she loves Lucas, this is so bad. Plus, why I don't understand. She knows what happened with her, with the love
Mhm.
triangle. Why does she want to go through that again by pushing him to be with somebody else?
I don't know. I think she thinks she's not gonna get hurt this time. I don't know.
I don't understand it at all. It's, like when she
Mm.
says, I kiss, what was it? I kiss two people. And he goes, and I kiss you twice. And I'm like,
Mhm.
this is what I mean is why, Brooke? It's another stupid game of Brooks.
Mhm. Yeah, because she's trying to pick someone out for him, and she thinks she's pointing at one girl, but the girl moves, and she has to point at Rachel. So then Lucas thinks that she's talking about Rachel, which backfires on her. And then she never corrected him either. She's like, "No, actually, I was pointing to that girl." She didn't even like. So it was her fault because she didn't say anything. So
Right. Because when he said, you
are
want me
you
to go
sure?
first? Right. Are you sure?
Yeah.
And she
Mhm.
looks, oh, it's Rachel.
Mhm.
Yeah. What? I'd been like,
Yeah.
no, let me go find the girl I was pointing to.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because she can't be that far away. She just left.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Or pick somebody else. Be like, no, that's not who I meant. Hang on, let me find somebody. I know. That's
Mhm.
why this episode for Brooke, it's like, doesn't do you justice.
Yeah.
There's no siding with you. I'm sorry.
Mhm. And I was surprised about well, originally I was surprised that when Haley was at the music store looking at Chris's CD, he pops up right there next to her.
Well, what I thought was weird, Cynthia, was the dude has a CD.
Oh yeah, I just thought it was weird that he wasn't on tour still. He was back in his music store that he manages or owns or something.
Well,
Yeah,
I was just shocked. I'm like, wow, in that little bit of time, he made an album.
yeah, because
And
I thought he would.
weird.
Yeah, I thought you think that he would be like a big. He would think he's a big shot that he wouldn't need to work at the music store anymore. But obviously, it's probably just because he wanted to see Haley again. But
I
yeah,
think it's
so
because he's only back in town for Nathan.
oh yeah, that too. But
But
yeah.
also, uh, this storyline doesn't fit Chris. The
Hmm.
Chris we
Already
have
know.
seen.
Hmm.
Because why in the hell would Chris come back
Hmm.
after Haley left the tour to come back to Nathan? Why would he come back to all because Nathan called him?
Hmm.
What? That
Yeah.
is not Chris at all.
Yeah.
I
And then with
I
Nathan
don't wanna it's
hating.
like, it's one thing if Haley would have called him, then of course he's gonna
Hmm.
come running.
Yeah.
But for Nathan, the person who wants you dead is
Hmm.
and threatened you is you're gonna just pick up his phone call and, "Oh, I'll be in town." That's
Hmm.
not Chris Keller.
Yeah, too with Nathan, because he hated Chris last season, so you think he never want anything to do with him again. But then he's using now Chris to make things better with Haley's music. But like he hated the whole idea before, and now he's like accepting it all of a sudden.
And what I didn't like about that whole thing, Nathan and Chris,
Hmm.
was when Nathan said, "Haley's not herself without music."
Hmm.
What? Uh, First of all, you met her when she wasn't this star, right?
Hmm.
So she was Haley.
Yeah.
I don't understand how her not having an album is going to not make her Haley.
Well,
If
it's
she
just.
never wants to play again,
Hmm.
she's still herself. Like,
Yeah.
so, okay, it's like Nathan. You take
Hmm.
basketball away, Yeah, that's something different because all we've ever known about Nathan is basketball.
Mhm.
But for Haley, she's more than just music.
Right.
So I didn't like that comment because I'm like, she's still being herself. What are you talking about, Nathan?
Mhm.
Plus, how the hell would you know? You're not even around her.
Right. And I think he just meant she couldn't write music, not put out music, but yeah.
She can still sing again. If all she wants to be is a karaoke singer, what's wrong with that?
Mhm.
It's what she wants to do.
Mhm. Yeah, but she was trying to write music, but she was failing. We saw in the last episode. Um yeah, and then even Haley brings up like, why do you want us to work again together? You know, you remember what happened last time. Yeah, so and then Chris says putting it just all to the side, you know, and Haley points out that, you know, her the crap putting aside is her marriage and everything. So
Again, whose fault was that?
yeah, and then we don't get her answer
Haley?
because yeah, we go to the next scene.
I wish Chris would have said that.
Mhm.
Wasn't me
Right.
that ruined it.
Mhm.
You're the one that chose that.
Yeah. And then the next scene is the one with Nathan and Chris at the river court because Chris tells Nathan that Haley said no, among other things, about working with him again. And Nathan asks Chris, so he just, you know, you just gave up on her, and because he didn't so easily last time, and Chris says it's unfair, and he doesn't like to get in the middle of other people's relationships, but that's what he already
That was
did.
funny.
Yeah.
But I will say that for Chris, like, yeah, he didn't give up so easily. And the reason why he didn't give up so easily is because Haley gave in.
Mm-hmm.
She never once put Nathan first when it came to that. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Nathan
Mm-hmm.
said, don't work with him again. Boom, she's working with him. Nathan, you know, was going to prom or whatever the hell that was. And boom, what is she doing?
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be late. You know, it's like all of that. It's like never once did she put Nathan first. It was Chris. So of
Right.
course, Chris is like, you know what? The first time around, she's giving in everything I say. She believes it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all of a sudden she doesn't believe us anymore. And so for Nathan to be like, you know, you didn't give up so easily last time because your
Mm-hmm.
wife didn't, you know, she wasn't hard on him.
Mm-hmm.
She was listening to everything he said. So of course he didn't give up. But here she's definitely standing her ground. So of course he's gonna give up. I mean, he wants it to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did like when he said that's unfair because I mean she's definitely trying to get him back now.
Mm-hmm.
Too late.
Yeah, and then Chris made a point to ask, so if she gets music back, then he gets her back, and Nathan says it's not about that. It's just about Haley.
But how?
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
what I didn't understand. I was like, Nathan, what?
Yeah, because like before he didn't really, toward you know, because of Chris and everything, the cheating. Up until that point, he you know, was always supporting her music, and now he's supporting it. Now they almost tore them apart. Like, it doesn't make sense
With
that
the
he
person,
would.
with the
Yeah.
person that tore him
Mm-hmm.
apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If
So just
anything, shouldn't he have hired a producer?
yeah, because I'm sure Dan knows people to get connections. You know, so it's not like Chris is the only
Deb, because
option.
didn't she do
Mm-hmm.
all of this work with like charities and stuff? Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I just feel like somebody would know somebody. And
And even Peyton, well, Peyton doesn't like her right now, but if she did, then Peyton would be, or Nathan could go to Peyton at least
right.
about, you know, getting connections. But yeah.
Yeah. So that's to me, or even maybe Karen, because they have people that
Yeah, the club.
come sing there. Yeah, the club,
Mm-hmm.
like she might know somebody. So it just doesn't make any sense that in this town of all these people, you
Mm-hmm.
mean to tell me that
Mm-hmm.
you can't find anyone else besides Chris Keller?
Right. So I want to know if this was planned or like did Tyler insist to be back or did the viewers want him back or
I
something?
don't
Because
think the viewers wanted him back.
yeah, I don't know.
'Cause they all say they hated season 2 Chris Keller.
Mhm. Well, I don't know. I feel like maybe this could have been the point where him and Joy were kind of seeing each other or trying to at least. Maybe that's why. Maybe she convinced the network to keep him on this time for this season. I don't know, but yeah.
I think they did it because for Nathan, what did he say was because remember he said, "I love you, I just can't trust you."
Mm-hmm.
This is a stupid way of
Yeah,
him
that, yeah.
proving
Mhm.
that. But I just don't understand. Like for Nathan, we saw it last season.
Mhm.
Why would you want to go through it again?
Yeah, and if I were Haley, I wouldn't like this plotting it behind my back either. So
I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, I guess they knew. You know what I would say?
yeah, because if I were Haley, I would think like if Nathan has to go through all this trouble just to prove that he can trust me again, then he just doesn't trust me at all. So
And you never will.
yeah.
So for me, that's why if it was me and somebody was saying that to me, like you have to work with the person that destroyed us to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to be with that. Like I don't want to ever see the person in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say then you might as well give me those divorce papers because
Yeah.
that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, because no one in their right mind in real
But
life
do
would
it
do that.
again.
So yeah.
No sane person
Yeah,
would
on
say
either
yes
side.
to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, yeah, there are those crazy people that would go, oh, 100%. But if you're truly trying to save your marriage, there's no way
Mhm.
in hell you're going to go back to that person.
Right.
So that's why if it was me, I'd be like, well, then you might as well give me those divorce papers because I'm not playing games to
Yeah.
win you back if you don't want me. Like,
Mhm.
that's just how it
Yeah.
is.
Mhm. Yeah, and then I thought it was funny though when Chris said that him and Nathan make a good team, and then he tries to impress Nathan by making a basket, but he goes right over the whole what do you call it, basket.
Yeah, the hoop. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was funny when he was like, maybe you don't know. Maybe I was aiming for that. I was like,
Yeah.
oh
Mhm.
my God, we know you weren't.
Yeah, and then later on we learn exactly that Chris is even more clumsier and clueless when it comes to things. So yeah.
Like, okay. Like, as much as like everyone hates Chris, right?
Mhm.
And as much as he's done, it's like at the same time, Haley was a part of it. It's one thing if he had a crush on Haley, because we know he did. But if she didn't had those feelings back and actually act on them, like
Yeah.
everyone, have you ever noticed like people always go, Chris was so terrible. It takes two.
Yeah.
So, because again, he can like her all he wants, but if
Mhm.
she doesn't act on it,
Yeah.
how is that going to ruin a relationship? It's not.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, so it takes two. So when people say that, it's like, no, Haley is 100% to blame. Chris is just a part of it. But for Chris though, it's like as much as we hate him, it's just funny in season 3 when it comes to Nathan and Haley. I feel like, especially Nathan. Oh my God,
Mhm.
like two people that hate each other.
Yeah, because
They come together and they're just
yeah.
their scenes are so funny. Oh my
Mhm.
God.
Yeah, because now we have this scene when before Nathan went to the studio and threatened Chris and threatened to hurt his guitar hand, but now here he is kind of like offering Haley up to him, so it's just a complete 180.
Oh, you want my wife? Here you go.
Hmm.
You know, and you wonder too, like how crazy this could have been if it was like try to hit on her,
Hmm.
see if she acts.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been because I feel like there's a boundary now between Chris and Haley that obviously wasn't there from the beginning. And it's like if Chris wants to get hit,
Hmm.
he'll act.
Yeah.
Haley won't, no matter how she feels. So it's like I don't understand how this would even work because they're not two people now that are going to act on it.
Hmm.
Especially because they had all tour long to act on it
Yeah.
and they didn't. So, given that and they became friends,
Hmm.
what would make Nathan be like, "Oh, well, if you got feelings for him, then that's like the end of us." And it's like, "What?"
Hmm.
They're not two people that had this relationship. Like, and here's the other thing too, is like if Chris, like in season 2, when he came around, if he had no music, right? There was no
Mhm.
interest in music, she would not be with him.
Right.
And just think about it. Felix actually did like her at the beginning.
Mhm.
And Nathan hated him. But it's like, was she acting on it? No. So there was no need to worry. But for Chris, because it was music, there was something to act on.
Mhm.
And it's just annoying because it's like for Nathan, it's like if Chris was not interested at all in music, there would never have been a worry to begin with.
Right.
I just think this episode, and especially these two storylines, Brooke and Lucas and Nathan and Haley, it's just a lot of games.
Mhm.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because it's about the relationship. It's not like you're just playing a game with somebody. It's about
Mhm.
your relationship, other people in your relationship. That's what's bad.
Mhm. And then at the cafe, Deb tells Karen Dan's running for mayor.
Oh, also, if you have to test somebody, because Brooke's testing Lucas and Nathan's testing Haley, if you have to test somebody and bring other people into your relationship, it's
Mhm.
probably not a good relationship.
Right. Yeah, so Karen is furious about Dan running for mayor because he's going to have even more power.
Yeah, and control over her cafe then.
Mhm. Yep, he can shut it down if he wants to. Yep. And
Yeah.
Shrek too. Yeah.
Yep.
And even though, Deb's tied to both of them, but
He don't care. He's gonna divorce her when he becomes mayor.
right. And, Deb said she didn't take it seriously before until until he wasn't. And then she points out that he's running unopposed, so like nobody can stop him.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
So when Dan was going through this whole thing, right, of like the flyers and the cars and this and that and the little pins or
Buttons.
yeah, the buttons, I
Mhm.
was just like, why is he going through all this when he's the only one running?
Just to show off, and he has the money to do it. So
Because my point was like, if you're the only one running, then you're gonna get the job.
yeah.
Nobody's running against you, dumbass. So why
Mhm.
would you think that? I just didn't understand it. I'm like, why is he going through this? Vote for me, vote for me. I'm like,
Mhm.
there's nobody against you.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, when it comes to like voting and like on the ballot and nobody else is running against somebody, I literally don't even, I avoid that because I'm like, no one's running against you. So I'm not even going to vote.
Mhm. And then yeah, so Deb explains that her hands are tied because she wants to get a divorce from him and freedom for her and Nathan.
I mean, that was good because like Karen's like, well, why? Like, are
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
siding with it? And she's like, cuz he's giving me a divorce. And it's like,
Mhm.
but is he really?
Yeah, and but she says she can still make things difficult for him, and she does. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
sure,
like that part.
yeah, sure he did before the last episode too.
But also, she knows Dan. He's going to make it difficult for her.
Yeah, and that proved the last episode definitely. Yep.
Uh-huh.
And then the next scene is with Dan talking to his campaign team about how things are going, and he mentions the well-timed donation to the high school because they're going to retire his jersey. And then the madness, midnight madness, and then that's when Deb walks in.
I'm surprised, honestly. I'm surprised because of Dan has always had power. I'm surprised his jersey was never retired before that.
Right, right, especially when he retired after his knee thing in college.
Yeah, I thought like, oh, he's gonna be the next big star. We gotta retire it
Hmm.
before, when Nathan was a baby or something like that. That's what was weird was what?
Yeah. Yeah, so Deb walks in glammed up, wearing lingerie and whiskey in hand.
It was so good.
Hmm. Even has a cigarette.
And the
And
guy
then,
was like, oh.
yeah. Yeah, it was two men, I think one woman with him. Yeah, and then she's asking, like, can you see my ass through this lingerie? And, making everybody uncomfortable, at least the other woman in the room.
She was funny.
And then, yeah. And Dan says, to her, like, isn't it too early for a drink? And she says, it's noon somewhere. And, that was funny.
She was just so funny in the episode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or the scene, at least.
Yeah. And then, because beforehand, when, before she was like acting all nice, she was, building up the credit cards with her shopping, but, now she can turn the tables and make him look bad, because it wasn't in that little contract that she asked to behave. So,
yeah, like the stepper wife.
mm-hmm. And then at school in the courtyard, Rachel has styled Bevan's hair. I guess they have much time. Yeah, I don't know. I was questioning that too. I was like, what does she even have on her, and like how much time do they have, and all that. But
well, my thing wasn't her hair always like that?
Yeah, because I guess they try to make it look like she did something with her bangs. I don't know if she like cut them
Her
or
bangs were always like that.
yeah, or like straighten them, or I don't know.
I think the problem was we should have seen what she looked like
Mm-hmm.
like at the beginning of the episode of like she
Yeah,
had like longer hair or she had curly. I don't know some
right.
or like there was like a curl. It
Yeah,
wasn't straight, and then
yeah.
all of a sudden Rachel fixed it. Like
they should have made a bigger difference to tell if you weren't paying attention. Yeah,
because I thought Bevan always had that same hairdo.
yeah, me too.
So it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like,
Mhm.
what?
Yeah. And then that's when Rachel sees Lucas and asks if they're still on for tonight. And then he confesses he was using her to make Brooke
How did
jealous.
you like how when she clocked it, she kind of like pushed Bevan, like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she like gives people attention that she only really wants to give attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's kind of using everybody just to, use it later. But
Well, isn't it weird how she's using everyone, and especially Lucas, and it's like all to just make one person mad?
yeah.
Like you're going through all this to make one person mad?
Right.
For what?
Yeah, a person she doesn't even know.
For what though? Like, I don't even get it.
I guess she's just trying to be like the top girl in the class now or at the school. Because maybe that's how she was at the last school she was at.
And also, she has nothing apparently in her life to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my thing is too, this school does not have a dress code because the stuff Rachel wears would not be acceptable. I mean, I always said the stuff Brooke wore in like season 1 wouldn't be either, but the stuff she wears for Rachel is just, it's not acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Like we could not wear tank tops.
Right.
If they didn't, what wasn't it the 2-finger rule
Mm-hmm.
on the shoulder?
Maybe even 3, yeah.
Yeah. And we couldn't wear short shorts or short skirts or anything.
Yeah. This just shows you what a show written by men will have, will do with wardrobe. But
yeah. Oh, and you also couldn't show your stomach.
Yeah, or your shoulders. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or your back.
Mm-hmm. And then she's basically another Abby, like from Dawson, just had nothing better to do but make everybody's lives difficult or miserable or
She
whatever.
gets a high half of it. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I never thought of that, Cynthia.
Yeah,
she is so Abby.
Yeah, I see some parallels with characters sometimes from the shows.
Remember, she was trying to kiss Dawson when Dawson and Joey were together?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't she?
Yeah. Yeah.
And here she is trying to ruin Lucas and Brooke.
Yeah. But the thing is, Abby knew the people she was messing with. Rachel doesn't know at all. These are new people to her, so it really doesn't make sense.
Well, she does it because, I mean, clearly Brooke knows everybody, but like, Lucas, I don't want to say it.
What?
Because I love Lucas.
Oh.
But Lucas and Dawson are similar.
Because they're being taken advantage of.
They're both dumb enough to let someone else who they don't like come in between the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when I said, now how long does it take for Dawson to like pull away from Abby?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how stupid can one be? Well, how stupid could Lucas be? I'm like, that's why when you brought up Abby, I was like, oh, Lucas is Dawson in this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, because again, why is he giving Rachel time of day when he knows damn well Brooke doesn't like it.
Yeah. Because so Rachel, and then Rachel's letting herself being used as well because she tells Lucas to pick her up at 8 for their date and whatever. And then when she's walking away, she sees Brooke is looking towards at Lucas. So then she turns around and then goes to kiss Lucas. Not even kiss him on his lips, kiss him on his neck
I know.
at school.
I thought it was
So
gonna. I literally thought it was gonna be the lips, but then I was like,
yeah.
oh, there we go.
Mm-hmm. So if there were enough teachers on campus, somebody would have caught that and gave her detention. But yeah, so
Probably both of them.
yeah. And then the next scene is at River Court. Nathan is giving the team a speech about, get as much practice as possible before Midnight Madness, even though it's not a real game.
You know what's funny?
Hmm.
Thinking of the beginning of the show, and Nathan never went to the river court. I don't even think he knew it existed.
Right.
Now that's his favorite place to go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he does have the court, or the court at Dan Scott's house.
Yep.
He's living there.
Well, maybe he found out about Deb and doesn't want to risk anything.
You what?
About Deb in the lingerie.
Mm.
Like maybe he doesn't want his friends to accidentally see something they shouldn't see because she's messing with Dan.
It's just kind of weird because I'm like, what? You would
Yeah.
think he'd go back to his old life of like, I have the money, I have the
Mhm.
house. I would never step foot on the river court.
Mm-hmm. And then Tim was funny because he kept calling Nathan Captain Scott.
Then he changed it to Captain Nathan.
Yeah. After Nathan told him that he just goes by Nathan, so he just
Captain Nathan.
he's just
God.
he's the ditz, so he doesn't catch anything apparently. Him and Bevan, but right now it's him right now. And then and then he said, did he ever think about who would be vice captain in the event that Nathan is assassinated or smash up another race car?
What I know.
First of all, I don't think everybody even knew about that, but now they do. So thank you, Tim. And just he has no filter. He's not thinking. He's just saying things he shouldn't say. But yeah, I'm surprised Nathan, wasn't more strict about that. Like like you sit out. But
Well, first of all, assassin.
yeah.
What?
I think
What day and age is this? First of all,
I think he's like, because remember when Brooke was going out for class president, she thought it was president of the United States. Maybe he thinks that. Maybe he thinks Nathan is the captain of the U.S. and like a president, he could get assassinated. So
oh my
I
God.
don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
I was like, first of all, what?
like
Secondly,
he's not important to have someone want to kill him. But yeah.
yeah, I was like, first of all, we're in high school, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, so that threw me off, and then secondly, bringing up the crash, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't even a year ago. That was only a couple months ago.
Yeah.
You would think Nathan would be like, I don't know, just.
Yeah. So I'm surprised he
It's
didn't like
not a
tell him to sit
joke.
out or something. Yeah.
But didn't they make a comment? Somebody made a comment when Lucas had his accident. Didn't somebody make a comment? And me and you were like, what? Isn't that too soon that they're joking about?
Oh, his accident, the car accident.
Yeah.
I think so. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Or it was Keith drinking and they were making a joke. And I was like, wait a
Mhm.
minute. Remember we said, wait, that's too soon. The car accident wasn't that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And here, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And also, you do realize that maybe the Scots shouldn't be involved in cars.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm. And then that's when Lucas makes a suggestion about their play, but Nathan tells Lucas, when he's captain, they can try that. And then he tells Lucas just to go ahead and sit this practice out. So yeah, he gives Lucas a harder, which I mean, I understand, but he just kind of lets him, fly by with that. So
He
that didn't make sense to me.
always lets Tim do whatever. Tim is only there for the comedy.
Yeah, which is funny sometimes, but not lately. It's just
Otherwise,
annoying.
he just wouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I do feel like I kind of am over Tim, like
Mm-hmm.
being ditzy.
Maybe that's why they write him out because they have no place for him after a while.
Because I think I hate to say it, but I think Chris brings more of a dynamic to him. where the stuff he says is funny,
Yeah.
but it's also true. Where Tim just says stupid stuff. Like, I think there's a difference because I know that Chris says dumb stuff too,
Yeah.
but it's also funny. And I
And
think that's why.
yeah, and it actually has something to do with the plot too. So
Right. Like when he says stuff, it's like it's more of like the eye roll laugh of like,
yeah.
you know it's true, so you laugh and you roll your eyes at the same time. For Tim, you're just like, what?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be an assassin?
And then Mouth is going through his own tryouts for someone to be his partner announcer. I don't know what the
So
title is for that,
this
but
episode
announcer.
So this episode was like testing relationships and auditions.
Yeah.
And who's gonna audition with Mouth? Also,
Well,
he can have that at school.
I guess because it has to do with the basketball games. I don't know. I mean, it's not that far fetched than Dawson's movie auditions, but yeah.
Yeah, well, we didn't accept that either.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so
you would think that the school, if he could audition in a school, you would think that the school would be able to run his website.
Yeah. But I don't know, I can't really, at least back then, I couldn't see that as like a requirement to have as the announcer. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, Mouth probably did that with its own pocket money. I don't know from what, but yeah, because I can't see him like making money off of that. Because I feel like it wasn't. That's a good question. I don't know when people started making money doing this, but they did start doing it 20 years ago. But yeah, let me see when. Yeah, so no one shows up but Gigi. Yeah, it wasn't until like the mid. Yeah, well, AI is telling me they can't pinpoint the time when people are getting paid, but yeah, so Gigi shows up and she was played by Kelsey Ashbily. I probably don't know how to say that right, but apparently she lied about her age to get on the show. Did you hear that?
Yeah, she said she was 14.
Yeah. No, she was 16, but she was actually 14.
Yeah, she was 14.
Yeah, so what she says later on is then more disturbing when you know her real age.
The turn on.
Yeah, exactly. But apparently she's the only one that shows up to this tryout for Mouth and the announcer. And Mouth
You know
asks if
what's
she
weird though is that
what?
thinking about even if she was 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know later on what happens, right? Mouth and Gigi.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because everyone else was an adult.
Yeah.
Like if she truly was 16, like 14 is terrible, but if she was 16, like she said she was, like when she lied and said she was, it's still gross because they're all mid 20s. Even James, it was 3 years in, so he was 20, 21. Like, and he was the youngest.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Because they kiss and stuff, right? Gigi and Mouth,
Yeah,
right?
they
You see that? Because I know on Disney Channel and I think maybe Disney Channel, maybe Nickelodeon, I don't think followed the rule very well. But I know Disney Channel, whenever someone was a minor and the other one wasn't, they just never let them kiss. You know, like they still show that there's a relationship, but they never let them kiss because they were following the law like they should. But other networks definitely weren't because, oh yeah, Nickelodeon definitely did. I remember now an actress spoke out about that. She was really young too. Yeah, so Disney was the only one doing the right thing here, and everybody else was just letting these minor actors kiss the adult actors. Yeah, so yeah, very wrong.
That's why it's weird because at the beginning of the show, yeah, like James was 18, but everyone else was still 20, 21, 22. And yeah, that's still bad.
Yeah,
but
Hillary felt weird.
But at the same time, now that it's 3 years in,
Mm-hmm.
they're all older than that.
Yeah, they're past college years. Yep.
So the fact that you're gonna let us, like, you would never let your 16-year-old daughter date a college boy, right?
Mm-mm.
Or a college man. You're definitely not gonna let her date someone older than college.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
So the fact
So
that even if she was 16, it's
yeah.
still wrong.
Yeah.
What?
So I know they have her on later on Drama Queens. I just haven't gotten there yet. But I do want to know what her parents thought, because I feel like if anything, they should have caught what was going on, unless they were one of those kind of parents that just didn't care what their adult was doing, like their kid was doing on sets, like Brooke Shields. But yeah, so I don't know.
I do know she's not the only one to lie.
Yeah,
On Friday
me.
Night Lights.
Oh, I was thinking about a different one.
Friday Night Lights, the actress who played Julie, I think
Mm-hmm.
she lied about her age,
Mm-hmm.
but she was still a teenager. She wasn't 14. I think she was 15, maybe. But it's like, I don't know. Shouldn't they see birth certificates? If you're gonna
Yeah.
involve minors, shouldn't you see birth certificates? Because people do lie just so they can get the job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know Mila Kunis is another one for the '70s show. She was also 14, but said she was 16. So when she was kissing Ashton Kutcher, he was 19, she was 14. So
But he
which
did say that
isn't
was weird.
yeah, so which isn't as big as this one, but still wrong. But
But also, like, well, first of all, how old was Lee? Because he was the one.
wasn't he around the same age as the girls, as far as I know?
But
Um,
also, like,
let me see.
well, I know that Misha on the OC, they were old. Like Ben, I think, was in his 20s and she was a teenager. So even that, and they were the supposed to be like the it couple of the OC.
Mhm.
So that's still wrong that you're hiring somebody that's over 20 to kiss you, that somebody is a teenager. Like, I do think there should be some laws. Like, okay, for the Gigi, they should have hired somebody at least 18
Mhm.
if she's going to, if she's going to be kissing Lee or James, because we know she does.
Yep.
It's like, if you know that about the character, you know that your actors have now aged to be mid-20s, you should not hire someone to be 16 and play 16, because we know that they can be 18 and play 16 because that's what your
Mhm.
actors are doing.
Yeah.
So if you know that, you should hire them to be over 18.
Yeah, it's probably the creator that liked this idea. That's why he let her on the show.
Do
Yeah,
you
but
wonder if he ever found out she was 14 and went, that's not like sicko. Like,
probably, yeah. But yeah, I looked up their ages and they're 10 years apart. So he was 24.
they what?
Mhm. Yep.
So even if she was 16,
It would
it
still be 8 years,
still
yeah.
would be
Mhm.
bad.
Mhm.
That's what I mean. It's still, even when her being 16 and James being how, like, it's still
Mhm.
not good.
Yeah.
That's why I just think that if you're going to hire,
Mhm.
especially when you know that the rest of your cast is over 18,
Mhm.
you should hire over 18.
Yeah, so this was the 2000s. The one you mentioned was the 2000s, right?
COC?
Yeah, yeah, so that's 2000s. But you said the Friday Night Fever or whatever?
Friday Night
Oh,
Lights,
wait. Sorry, I get those confused. There's two different things. But when was that? 2000s again?
2006 it aired.
Okay. And then the '70s show was in the '90s. So, yeah. So, and then now with the documentaries coming out, in the last year or so about, child actors being taken advantage of. So hopefully now today they don't do this ever again.
They
Now that
probably will.
people, now that people are aware of it, and they're maybe hopefully someone will be looking out for that. But, um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like they should go back and give consequences to whoever approved this, but for any of these shows, but
Well,
you
and
know,
did any of these shows, did anyone feel that it was awkward?
maybe because I don't know. That's why it would be different if it was one person, but like, because like they have a casting director on every show, so there's at least that person, and then the
Who cast
creator,
them?
yeah, so two people.
Well, the
I feel like
network
somebody,
approves it.
yeah, so like that's three people at least. I'm just like counting like in department wise, but at least. So it's just they all had to agree on this, and for some reason the others didn't speak up, maybe, but still, like that because like they were already strict about not having the kids work so many hours, but they just weren't strict with everything else apparently because that wasn't in the law, but it should have been. But I don't know.
Because like on Beverly Hills 90210, Luke Perry,
Mm-hmm.
he went out for the role and the network said no. And Aaron Spelling said yes. So Aaron Spelling paid Luke Perry out of his pocket for like first couple episodes until the network was like, no, this is our character.
Why? Because he was too young or too old?
And no, just because they didn't like him in the role.
Oh.
And that's what I mean by like network has control.
Mm-hmm.
So if the network didn't like it or didn't approve it, like it would not have happened.
Yeah.
Unless you're Aaron Spelling.
Mm-hmm.
But this one was not Aaron Spelling.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is how did he get away with it?
I don't know. Maybe they'll talk about it later in the drama queens. Like I said, once we get there and she shows up, because I'm pretty sure she shows up, right? I'm pretty sure I might have seen a clip about them on Instagram talking. But
I think it's like season 6. So
yeah, because she comes back. So, but I thought it was funny how Mouth is like, have you had any prior experience announcing basketball? She said, well, she shakes her head no,
Well,
and then Mouth.
I just laugh because she's not speaking. The only thing she
Mhm.
said was her name and
Yeah,
that she's here for the tryouts. And then it was funny because Mouth is like, you do know you have to talk.
and she just nods yes. Yep.
Like she doesn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm kind of surprised he let her on in the first place because it's like it's the same either way. He's going to be alone talking. So
Yeah,
but yeah.
you're gonna have just somebody sitting next to you nodding, and no one's gonna know because they can only listen to her.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like
Yeah.
now where you can do video too.
Yeah. And then Payne gets coffee from a coffee cart when Ellie's right there because she just got some too. And she tells Payne not to freak because she's sure that taste in coffee isn't hereditary. And then
Well,
mentions
it
she's
can
glad
be.
oh yeah. Yeah. And then she mentions she's glad she ran into her anyways because she knows she's been lurking outside her motel room. So Payne's been curious about Ellie still after everything. And Ellie says the last thing she wants to do is complicate her life, even though she's done a lot more than that. And then Payne is about to go, but Ellie brings up a concert and, if she wants to go. But Payne says she thinks it's horrible, so no. And Ellie thought so too, but still asks Payne if she wants to go, and she says yeah. And then later they get back to her motel room where things are starting to get better. Ellie's going to show pictures of her parents to Payton. But then when she leaves, I don't know. I mean, she didn't know she was running to Payne, so that, was entirely her fault. But still, everything's on the table for her to
Yeah,
see.
because that was my thought was like, why wouldn't you move the papers? But then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. She didn't realize she was going to bring Peyton back because Peyton has not been talking to her. So,
but then I felt bad for Peyton because Ellie had told her she doesn't draw, but sure enough, there's that sketch right there of her as the angel of death, right there. It's like not even a small picture; it's a huge picture, like taking up half the page.
And she said there was going to be no article.
Yep.
And
so
she wrote a whole goddamn paper on it.
Yep.
It wasn't even a small one paragraph article. It was the whole page.
Yeah, so when Ellie comes back out, Payne asks if she wrote it for Lion Bitch Monthly, which was good. But and then Ellie says she just wanted to get to know her and that there was going to be an article at the time, at least.
So when did she say there was going to be one? Because Peyton didn't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just when she says at the time. Well, you should have told her when there was going to be.
Right. And so Payne doesn't want to hear her explanations and just tells her for the next headline, she can, call it "Go to Hell" and then leaves. And then Brooke gets home to the apartment to tell Haley that she has a great idea. Haley, who's doing homework, asks if it involves trigonometry, and Brooke's being the ditz now because she says she doesn't know what that means, but she doubts it. And then that's when she brings up about Haley being a cheerleader just so Rachel wouldn't join. Even though we know that Haley isn't the best cheerleader either. I mean, because, Brooke's like, you did such a good job last year and everything.
Even though Brooke criticized her.
Yeah. And then had Mouth kind of, take the lead. And if anything, she should have mouth join. But anyways, unless she can't have a boy join. But
Maybe because he wouldn't be able to do his announcing.
oh yeah, that too probably. I mean, he could have if Gigi would help him out, but
She don't help.
yeah, I'm just saying if she did.
She
And then
didn't.
and then Brooks tells Haley she's supposed to have her back as her roommate, and says Rachel's still in her life, but she's dating Lucas, but that's kind of her fault. So I don't know why she complained about that.
That was my Brooke is just.
I
You
mean, Brooke
can't
does
be
admit it,
mad
but
at Rachel
yeah.
if
Mhm.
you push Lucas.
And then Haley goes on to say she has a lot going on in her life with Nathan being hot and cold, and Chris back in town. And then that's when Haley has the realization. So she figures out that Nathan's acting this way because Chris is back, and he thinks that she has something to do with it.
I liked when Brooke said, "Great, we've solved your riddle. Get back to mine." It's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. So things are still rough.
Well,
Rough there
it's like with
with their
Brooke,
friendship.
it's always about Brooke.
Yeah. And then Haley says she can't cheer, and Brooke says she can because she thought her goal was to be with Nathan, and if she's cheerleading, she'll see him all the time. And Haley says she knows, yeah, but she doesn't want Nathan to think that she's like kind of stalking him.
I agree with that because okay, could you imagine
Mhm.
Haley becomes a cheerleader? Remember, music means she's not Haley. So what the hell would cheerleading be?
Yeah. And he
Definitely
didn't
not
really,
Haley.
yeah, he didn't even like it before, so. And yeah, so she tells Haley to forget about Nathan and why doesn't she do what she wants for once? And Haley says she will, and then says no thanks to cheering.
That's what I would say too.
Yeah, and then Brooke says let her rephrase that, like why doesn't she do something she wants Brooke to do for once? And Haley still doesn't give in. So Brooke says fine. Then does she mention that Nathan's often shirtless at practice and even describes it to kind of bribe Haley to join.
And all the girls notice. Oh my god.
Yep. So then when Brooke gets up from the couch to leave, Haley throws a pillow at her backside because she definitely deserves that.
If Nathan isn't attracted to them and doesn't have eyes for them, then there's no problem.
Right. And then at Payne's house, she's drawing Ellie's name, and the doorbell rings. It's Ellie. I think that's the first time we actually hear the doorbell ring in the show for her house.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, she tries to explain about the article. She couldn't leave things like that between them. And she gives Payne the article to read, and Payne says she has something for her. So they go up to her room, and Ellie explains she's a writer.
Ellie goes to the room.
Invited by Payne and invited to by Payne herself. Yeah, the last time was with Larry. Yeah, with Larry.
Oh yeah, Larry. Yep.
Yeah. So this time she was actually invited. She didn't go there when she was not invited. Yeah, so she's a writer and never meant to hurt Peyton. And Payne tells her she thinks she's a lying junkie who probably doesn't even have cancer, and then gives her the drawing of her name where the L-I-E in it is highlighted, for liar. And then Ellie tells Payne, the relationship that they have, if they can call it that. She can use it for her podcasts and drawings, but she can't write about it. So for the drawing, Payne isn't using it as a way to make a living and putting out there for other people to see it. Well, with the podcast, yes, but in the drawings. But yeah, so that wasn't fair.
She's not getting paid for the podcast, right?
As far as we know, no.
She's just telling her life.
Yeah. By the way, I put in my notes later anyhow, but when I was watching her record her podcast, she actually was using Audacity to do it. So that was funny. Of course, it's like the 2005 version, so it's a little bit different. But
oh, it's okay. I'm mad at Audacity.
Yeah, and but I don't know. I'm just saying for anybody that's listening, the network did actually make Payne's podcast a real podcast. It's only 5 minutes long, but it is on Apple Music. It's like 12 episodes, 5 minutes each. And she kind of like talks about every episode as you go along in this series or this season until a certain point. I go one by one, like the drama queens. So it's about like what Payne did in that episode, which is actually a nice perspective to get. Except for the first episode, it cuts off like after 3 minutes or so, but it is on YouTube if you want to listen to the rest of it. So I like that part. It makes the show like more immersive, and you can kind of see Payne's thoughts about Ellie and everything. But yeah, so
is it actually Hillary talking?
Yep, they gave her a script. I think I texted you something too that wasn't right from the show that they had her say for the podcast. Do you remember what that was?
No.
Um, let me see because it wasn't that far back. It was something that was definitely off. Was it this month or last month? I don't even know. Oh, here it is. I put on the podcast. She said she was 8 when her mom died. Oh, okay. Yeah, so they were a year off. But yeah. So I don't know if they had a separate writer write Payne's podcast. Like I said, they got that wrong, so maybe they did. But Hillary said they just gave her a script to read, and that's how she did it. But yeah. So Payne tells Ellie to get out of her house and out of her life, and Ellie says she will, but trusts that their relationship was always more important to her than any article. And she may not believe it, but it's the truth. And that's when she rips the article and throws it in the trash can in front of Payne and leaves. And then at Dan and Deb's, Deb is brushing her teeth.
Well, I just think that if Ellie really wanted a relationship with Payne, she shouldn't be doing all the stuff she's doing.
Right, yeah. So Deb is brushing her teeth, and Dan walks in with a Polaroid camera and takes a picture of her. And she asks what he's doing, and he says that for the spirit of her having her fashion show earlier, he decided to take up photography and calls it Deb's toothbrush, and then takes out pictures using it to do various things, like the car tires and clean the toilet, and then the neighbor's dog chewing on it. And then he doesn't show the picture, but says it was also up the dogs. And then without finishing the sentence, Deb throws up in the sink.
I mean, it was funny.
Yeah.
Even though it's gross, it was funny.
Yeah. And then at the mall, Rachel goes over how Lucas is using her to make Brooke jealous. Making sure she has everything right to Lucas, and she's cool with it, and just wants Lucas to show her where Brooke works so they can make her jealous.
Of course, Rachel.
Yeah, so they're in front of the store. Brooke is dressing up a mannequin, so she's right there in the window. And Rachel smiles as she wraps her arms around Lucas. Brooke glares at them, and Lucas asks Rachel if it's working, not looking at Brooke, and Brooke's, storms off. And Rachel says it did, but they can do better. So then they go inside the store. And then that's when Rachel says they're looking for lingerie, and she gives details exactly what they're looking for. And Lucas says the joke's over, they can go now. And Brooke tells Rachel she thinks they're in the wrong store. She's looking for the slut barn that's downstairs. And then Rachel finds a lingerie set and says that she needs one for her sister, and looks at Brooke and says she's kind of chubby, like her size.
What?
Now, yeah, I know they mentioned this in the podcast too for drama queens. Just uncalled for. And Brooke, we know we have eyes. Brooke is definitely not chubby.
No, if Brooke's chubby, can I be chubby?
Right. Yeah.
Like what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because in the 2000s, the beauty norm was kind of not like in the 90s where it was like pole skinny, but still not that far up in size either. Like you couldn't have like too much curves or anything. You couldn't like have a butt or anything. Like you still kind of had to be thin. Yeah. So I didn't like how Lucas didn't like kind of make more of a like intervene more instead of just saying like let's go, or like he could have said like that's not right to say to Brooke or whatever, because he supposedly likes Brooke, but he doesn't defend her in this moment, so he's not showing it.
Well, he kind of did by stopping her from trying to kill Rachel.
Yeah. But he should, do something before that.
I mean, are we the audience supposed to believe that he likes Rachel?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like,
and like she's gonna be the other person to like ruin this relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty much messed up before Rachel even came into town. But Lucas apologizes to Brooke and says he messed up. And, but she's the one that told him to see other people. But Brooke doesn't let him finish the sentence and just says for him to get Rachel out of there now. And Rachel agrees to leave, to only throw the laundry back on the table and say the server sucks anyways. Or no, sucks donkeys. And then they walk out. And then at the apartment, Haley was on the couch playing guitar when someone's at the door. It's Nathan. He wants to talk to her about Chris. And she already knew from the weirdness between them, and she tells Nathan that she didn't know Chris was coming back to town. He has to believe that, and she would never work with him again. And then that's when Nathan tells her that he thinks she should work with him again. And Haley's probably wondering if she fell into an alternate universe from hearing this, because we definitely did. And then Nathan says Chris is good for her music, and that's what she should be focusing on right now. And Haley reminds Nathan that working with Chris nearly killed their marriage. And that's when, basically, like we said before, he says, if you want to prove to me I can trust you, then do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about,
Yeah.
It's just all stupid.
Mm-hmm. And then, so then he'll have his answer if she ends up having feelings for him. And Haley's still not falling for it. But it's her chance, he says. And then we see Peyton and Brooke in their bedrooms, in each of their bedrooms and in their cheerleading uniforms. Haley walks in and sees the uniform on her bed. And Brooke doesn't say anything, just walks out of the room. And then at the school in the locker room, the girls' locker room, Rachel's looking at herself in her cheer uniform and then takes off her underwear. This is definitely a creator call because, Danielle, am I saying that right? Yeah, wouldn't do this. Like, this wouldn't be a choice. She wouldn't want to do this. And then Dan is outside giving, he said people buttons for his campaign. And then Nathan walks by. So Dan tells, him big game. And he says, yeah, but he's managed to make it about him. And Dan says, don't make him, to not be jealous.
Don't be jealous? What?
Yeah.
Okay, when has Nathan ever been jealous of Dan?
Never. Yeah. And it's unbecoming to a captain. It makes him look like a tool. And then he gives Nathan a pin.
So I thought this was weird, this next scene.
With Karen?
Yes, because I'm like, the only time Nathan and Karen have had a scene is when he was talking about Haley.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. Like, there is no scenes between these two. So I was just kind of like, okay, this is weird. Because she's like, oh, are you okay? I'm like, what? And then that's when he gives her the pin.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of weird.
Yeah. And then Karen sees Dan handing them out to other people. So I think that's when she got the idea of, originally about going for mayor too. But then back in the girls' locker room, Brooke is stressing because they're going to start soon and nobody's there. Only her and Peyton are. And then Peyton tells her to relax. They'll be there. And just then the girls walk in with Rachel and they all have coffees in their hands because apparently Rachel treated them to a pre-show beverage and even brought Brooke one. But Brooke says no thanks to the coffee and tells Bevan, but Bevan tells Brooke it's okay. And Brooke says it's not, and then tells Rachel this is her squad, and then notices Bevan isn't wearing any undergarments. And she asks Bevan where they are, and Bevan answers she's trying something new. But we know exactly where she got that from. And then Brooke tells Rachel that the squad is out of control and it's her fault. And Rachel asks if Brooke is going to fire her, and just then Haley walks in wearing the uniform.
Is that weird that she said fire me?
Yeah. Instead of like I can't think of the word. Cut her from the team. Yeah, that would be more appropriate. Yeah. But again, if this was real life, if there were cheerleaders in very short skirts not wearing underwear, an adult would have saw this and pointed it out and tell them to either put some on or just not participate. So that's what drove me crazy too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
if that cheer coach was there.
Mm-hmm. And then so now that Brooke sees that Haley's there in her uniform, she can tell Rachel to get out. And Rachel uses her this is what Rachel like kind of built.
Oh, by the way, you got happy Brooke that Haley's there. And then you got Peyton. Nice outfit. Like, ooh, it's like getting good.
Yeah. So this is where Rachel's, effort takes off because she can use it to her advantage. Like, okay, I'll leave if all the girls want me to, and that's when they say no. Being on her
why
side.
One person as a teenager should not be in charge of the squad.
Yeah. Yeah, so this fight definitely made sense to happen sooner or later. And and then Brooke mentions that the routine won't work with an extra person, but then Rachel says, sure it will, just, watch for the changes. So Rachel's already like taking over the whole squad now, and Brooke doesn't really put her foot down too much on it. But
well, she can't really if the whole team is like on Rachel's side.
Yeah, I just felt bad for Brooke. She was like losing control. So this definitely makes sense why Rachel ends up with Dan later, because they definitely have that power and they know how to use it. And then back in the gym, Mouth is doing his job and introduces his new co-announcer, Gigi, and Gigi just offers him some candy, doesn't say anything. And then Whitey gets to the floor and tells the audience that 20 years ago they had another player, one of the most talented he's ever coached. I feel like Dan would have to like pay him to say all this, but he continues saying that Dan Scott scored a lot of points for the team, and after that he sold a lot of cars. So for the upcoming election, he's probably getting a lot of votes, just not his.
I
So
know
he
it's funny,
yeah.
just not mine. I'm like, way to
Mhm.
go, Whitey. And
Yeah,
then did you
everybody.
see Dan like looking at him? What?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't
and
say
people
that
were
in
laughing.
public.
Yeah, and people were laughing too, including Karen. And then Whitey tells Dan to come up. Whitey says he thought that they retired his jersey years ago, like we did.
But what the hell?
Yeah. So they unveil it, and the crowd cheers. And
Oh my
then
God.
Dan,
Whitey was funny because he goes, unveiled the damn thing.
yeah, and
Oh
Dan
my
calls
God.
Whitey a class act and says it's been an honor. It's an honor to be there tonight. And looking around brings him back memories. And he played his heart out for the team, and now he'll do it for the same as mayor. And
I
then,
don't think he played his heart out for the team.
right, yeah.
I think he played it for himself.
hmm But then, did you catch Whitey? Because he sat down and he said, "Where's Lee Harvey Oswald when we need him?"
No.
That's actually the person who assassinated John F. Kennedy.
Mm.
So that was Whitey's line. Like, why can't somebody take Dan out when we need him? So that was something.
Yeah, but now we're talking about assassination, and Tim said about assassinated.
Yeah. So I don't know why that was a theme here, but as Dan talks, Karen walks down to whisper something in Whitey's ear. We know what it is, about her campaign against him. And then Dan comes up, says fine speech, but he made a small error. He's not running a post after all. And that's when he says he's endorsing Karen. Everyone cheers. Whitey smiles at Dan and then walks over to Karen, giving her a hug. And Karen smiles at Dan too, like game on. And then a bit later, Dan hypes up the crowd. This is when we go back to the beginning when he announces the team. And then, the locker room with the boys. And the fight starts. And then the girls too. Because Rachel tells Brooke that she's just getting started, then does some flips. And then Rachel is so close to Brooke that when she's dancing, she bumps into her. And Brooke tells her to cool it because this isn't the pole dancing she does on the weekends. And then Rachel just does another flip. And then Mouth comments how Rachel has a lot of spirit. And then Rachel is showing off now. Yeah. I think he was just saying that to be nice, like PG.
I know.
Yeah. And then Rachel kicks her leg up in front of Brooke's face, and Brooke swats it down. And then Rachel does a splits in front of Brooke as the last move of the cheer. And Rachel gives Brooke a look, and Brooke asks, what's her problem while pushing her. And then that's when they get into it. And then Rachel tells Brooke that she dances like a cripple, which was definitely uncalled for, but they weren't very insensitive back then. And then she tells her nice splits, though. She must have had a lot of practice spreading her legs. And then Brooke tells her she must have a lot of practice of making a fist. She has a lot of practice of making a fist and asks if she wants to see. And Rachel says Brooke doesn't scare her. She's not like a cookie or a donut. So again, trying to make fun of Brooke as if she is overweight or something. And then basically we talked about before, everybody's in these piles somehow for some reason. And then like I said about JJ making that comment about the fighting. And then Whitey's in his office yelling at Lucas and Nathan. And to solve this, he thinks that making Lucas also co-captain will
So,
be.
don't you think the other players and parents would be upset that these two started the fight?
Yep.
And now are going to be captains?
Yeah.
Instead of Nathan just getting his taken away.
Yeah, so I don't think that was I mean, this kind of seems like a Whitey move just because he was the one that also stranded them in the middle of nowhere when they were on their way home. So it does seem like something he would do, just not something you would do in real life to solve a problem like this. Because if anything, they're going to fight more, trying to figure out what to do with the team.
And they're going to pit the team against each other. Like they did season 1.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then later on, Lucas is in his car looking at the patch, and that's when Rachel pops up, like Brooke from before, and she's naked in the back seat. And but then Lucas isn't really falling for it, and he tells Rachel like before, and Rachel says she gets it. He's using her, and she's okay with it as long as she lets him use him back. And she tries to kiss him, but he kind of turns away. And then that's when Brooke knocks on the car window. And she says naked in the back seat is so last year, it was 2 years ago. And then Brooke walks away, and that's when Lucas follows her. And then they get into it. He doesn't get why she's upset. She's the one that wanted to be non-exclusive. And then that's when she says one of her most known moments, saying that she wanted him to fight for her, wanted him to say that there is nobody else out there that he could ever be with, and that he'd rather be alone than without her. So out of context, it seems like that he was definitely in the wrong. But when you watch the whole episode in context, then you realize that she was also in the wrong. So it kind of makes this speech of hers kind of not make sense. Because I see a lot of edits with this scene, and people say like Lucas was so bad in this moment,
And he was
and
wrong.
yeah, so it was both of them really. But
Well,
yeah,
I don't think Lucas was wrong
mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
Brooke told him
Yeah,
to
exactly.
go on a date with somebody, told
Mhm.
him to go kiss somebody else. Like,
Yeah.
she did it. So
Mhm.
and technically, Lucas did say, right from the start, when she said,
Mhm.
I kiss too, and he goes, and I kiss you twice.
Mhm.
That was him sticking up for her, saying, I just want you.
Yeah,
So when
fighting for
Brooke
her.
says,
Mhm.
you didn't fight for me, all I wanted was you to
Mhm.
say I was the one. He
Mhm.
did,
Yeah.
but you didn't hear it.
Yeah.
So this is what you get.
And then she says she wanted the Lucas Scott from the beach town, but then
He
he said
did.
yeah, he said how was he supposed to know that? And I agree because she was saying the opposite of that. So
She pointed out a girl
yeah.
for Lucas.
Mhm. Yep. Like if it wasn't Rachel, it would have been the other girl she was pointing out. So
What?
yep.
I know. I was like, Brooke, stop talking. Because
Mhm.
first of all, you've been playing this game since you got back to town.
Yeah.
You wanted him to date somebody else.
Mhm.
You want this friends with benefits, but you don't want to be exclusive. Like, it's
Mhm.
so childish.
Yeah.
If you want him, if you love him, then be with
Mhm.
him. If
Yeah.
not, shut up.
Mhm.
I was so
Yeah.
annoyed. I was like, Brooke is annoying because this
Yeah.
speech meant nothing to me.
Yeah. So both Brooke and Nathan are just making the wrong moves, trying to see if the other person still has feelings for them. So yeah.
That's why I said if you have to go through all this to
It's
be
not
with
worth it.
somebody,
Mhm.
it's not worth it.
Yeah. And then before the last thing, she goes back to the car and then punches Rachel in the back seat and says to never hit her again. Um, which I guess was her way, but
Okay.
little overkill. But at Payne's house, then she sees Ellie's torn article in the trash can. That's when she reads it, and that's what gets her to change her mind. Because she says that when she has gotten to know Payne, she's proud to be, or she says a young woman, like any woman would be proud to have her as a daughter. Um, and then Karen finds a flyer saying Dan's the man in her windshield, and she crumples it up when Dan pops up.
Oh my God, I can't with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he goes, oh, so you're running against me. And then he said that, and she's like, what's the point and stuff. And he was like, the point is you came in second place. Like I picked Deb over you.
Yeah, like he's bringing up that again, as if that's gonna, you know, scare her or something, or make her doubt herself.
Yeah.
Even
And
though,
then he said, what's the difference now?
mm-hmm,
And when she walks away or he walks away, whatever, I was
mm-hmm,
like, oh my God. Though the difference is Deb is on Karen's side.
yep. And then Payne goes to see Ellie at the motel, but she sees that the room's empty except
Oh,
for,
also, what
yeah,
she should have said was,
huh,
you're a prize.
right,
Like, Deb's actually like kind of the loser. I mean, like she won you, but it's also not good.
Yeah.
Like Karen's the person that would say that back to him.
Mm-hmm.
So it was annoying that she didn't.
Yeah.
Like, how many times did she argue back at him in the
Yeah.
season?
Or throw a chair, or I forgot what she did. She threw something at the window in his office and broke it. So
Yeah.
I
So
think
I
it's
was
a
just
chair.
kind of
But
like, yeah, I was just kind of
yeah.
like, why wouldn't she say that back to him? Like, that you're not a
Mhm.
prize.
Yeah.
And if you are, I didn't want you.
Yeah, and she knows that Deb is only staying with him just so, or with this campaign just so she can get a divorce. So,
Right.
but he
So that's
doesn't
when
know
I'm
that.
like, what? It doesn't make any sense. To
Yeah.
say that, like, she would have been the one to say something.
Right. Yeah. So Payne sees the motel room is empty, but only Ellie's charm bracelet is left. And then the next scene we see Payne recording her podcast in a room, like I said about before.
But
But
did
then we
you see that her charm bracelet said survivor?
I didn't notice that. No.
And I think it's supposed to be survivor of cancer.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah. Yeah, and then she also taped up Ellie's article together and they're both on her desk. And then she mentions how she didn't like Ellie at first and drove her away. And then we see Ellie get an MRI done. And then the next day, Haley goes to Chris's place, wherever he's staying at, to work on the music with him. And then she tells him to get his guitar and to wipe his stupid smile off his face. And then Nathan's
there watching.
Yep, because he was on a run apparently, and then goes back to it after she goes in. So yeah, so that was it. It was a whole bunch of games in this episode, and it wasn't just a basketball game that they never even got to because everybody was in a fight. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least that's what we know because we didn't see the game, but yeah.
The high was Karen running against Dan because that's the only good thing in the episode. Everything else is just like child games.
Yeah.
It was annoying.
Yeah.
So like the only like mature thing that happened was Karen running against Dan.
Yep.
And how she did it too is nice.
Yeah.
The low was Brooke and Nathan putting their relationships in a test.
Stupid test.
Yeah. Because all it means is you don't trust the person. And you
Yeah.
probably shouldn't be with them if you can't trust them.
Yep.
So
and then we know how one of them ends up later too. So
yep.
But yeah, mine are exactly the same. So rating?
I mean, I'd rate it a 9. It was actually entertaining.
Yeah, me too.
Season 3 is really good.
And then best and worst?
The worst, I'm gonna go with Brooke. The reason is because of her stupid test. If she would not have pushed Lucas with Rachel, he wouldn't have went out with her. He's not interested in her. So it's her own fault. And to give that dramatic scene that the speech that everybody knows, it was pointless in this episode because he didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
So, yeah, I just didn't like it. And then she's making Haley do something she don't want to do. Like, it's all about Brooke. And then so she was the worst. And then the best was Karen. What about you?
Yeah, same for me as Karen for best. But the worst, I put Rachel just because she's just coming into this school and kind of messing with people. I mean, with Lucas, it wasn't really entirely her fault, even though she wasn't taking Lucas's no for an answer or, using her. So she's kind of like letting herself be used, which is like a self-disrespect for herself. But yeah, and she's just like putting the whole team against Brooke. She doesn't even know Brooke. She's even trying to, we later on we see she's even trying to get Payne on her side. And she just I know it's hard not to pick her because I know what she's gonna do later on. So she just tries to mess with everybody, not just Brooke. Yeah, so just Rachel.
And then next episode
is episode 6, Locked Hearts and Hand Grenades, which Kind of fits a little bit with it being February right now for us, but this is November. So yeah, it just sounds like more chaos or anything.
Well, that's good because season 2 was,
Yeah, kind of boring, a little bit slow. Yeah.
so we need season 3.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Yep, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about the episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube at Duo Chat Podcast. And give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would appreciate it.